Latitude 64 came out with 2 new molds in the Royal box. A lot of you guys probably haven't thrown them yet, the Peak and the Sweep. Now the Peak is actually my main putting putter at the moment. It's the putting putter and throwing putter of 2-time world champion Isaac Robinson. Let's put the Peak aside for a second. Let's talk about the other new mold that I'm sure a lot of you guys have not seen or thrown yet. This is the Royal Sweep. These are the I have 2 of these prototypes that came in the Royal box. It's a 9.5 -1.2. Just kind of like that workhorse Thunderbird type disc. This is something that Isaac Robinson is also going to be bagging for the season. He's already said that he really likes this mold. I have a blue one, I have an orange one, and I really wanted to come out and compare them to the Saint and the Saint Pro to see how they compare. Now, I also filmed a part of a video with the Peaks, mostly how they perform from a putting perspective. So I'll put that footage at the end of this video. So if you're not interested in the Sweep and you are interested in the Peak, you can skip to the end. I did that at Eastway, but today we're going to test all these discs out here. We'll throw the Saint, we'll throw the Saint Pro, and then we'll throw the Sweeps. The Saint is a 9.7 -1.2, so the same flight numbers as the Sweep, but apparently it's much glidier. Holding that turn all the way, nice and glidey. Holding true to that Fat 7 glide. Now the Saint Pro I thought was going to be a lot more stable than it actually is. This is a disc that really surprised me when I first got my hands on this guy. Very similar to the Saint, but just a little bit more fade at the end of the flight. Now, I haven't compared these discs yet. I'm really curious. Are these more stable, less stable, or right in between those two? We'll throw the orange and then we'll throw the blue. Wow, flying more like the Saint, which is a real surprise to me. Holding that turn a lot longer than I was expecting. I think for Isaac, this is going to be the replacement to his FX4. We saw him throwing that thing all over W.R. Jackson with the Champions Cup. Oh man, look at that. That is not bad right there. Put it up in the air, let it turn just a little bit. Nice hard fade at the end. All right, so far so good. Saint being the flippiest for sure. Those of you with slower arms out there are really gonna like the flight of this more than the flight of everything else. 9.7 -1.2, same turn and fade, but more glide. And I think this should probably be more like a 9.7 -2.2 if you're asking me what I think the flight number should be. It's pretty easy to get that thing to just kind of want to stay in the air, hold that flight characteristic, that mid-flight characteristic through like 80% of the flight before it starts to kind of push out at the end. The Saint and the Saint Pro are a really good 1-2 punch. The Saint Pro, I'd be really curious to see how a flat one flies. This run was pretty domey, and it'll like push because of the dome and have a little bit more glide than you'd expect. I don't know the flight numbers of the Saint Pro, but I know that this thing is definitely more stable than the Saint. But look, if you kind of wrench over on it, it still has stability, like that was wanting to fight out, but it certainly still has some glide to it as well. And I feel like a lot of people think of the Saint Pro as like a super stable disc. Definitely not. Definitely like kind of similar to the Sweep. The Sweep and the Saint Pro, they definitely feel different, but they fly very, very similar. That's boomed. That's absolutely boomed for a 9-speed. Definitely still feel like I'm throwing harder. I've been throwing a ton, and I've been throwing a ton of hard shots. I have a massive blister on my finger right here that is like, I see a lot of the pros taping up their fingers. This is the first time I've ever had to tape up my finger from disc golf. So I don't know if it's a rite of passage and I feel cool, or if I feel stupid because I hurt my finger playing disc golf. Really loving the flight. That thing pushed so far. For me to get all the way up onto that golf tee box area with a 9-speed, that might be a personal best for me. The new power, I think I'm getting the opportunity to take more advantage of these like pro level discs. Flying really nice, super straight, super controllable, and flying very true to those flight numbers. I know for a lot of you guys, the most helpful part of these videos is the side profile. So here's the side profile. Nothing too different or extraordinary. Nice little dome on there. Doesn't have too aggressive of a shape under the wing here. Just like a good straight flyer with a dependable fade at the end. On the left, we have the Saint Pro, which looks a little bit chunkier, a little bit less dome, but pretty similar. And then in comparison to the Saint, same turn and fade, but more glide, the Saint just feels a little bigger. In hand, it feels bigger, but the feel in hand is quite similar with all of these discs. And I feel like the Sweep and the Saint Pro have very similar flight characteristics, but for me, the Sweep feels way better in the hand. So before we wrap things up for today and I transition you guys into some footage of me putting with the peaks for a half a round at Eastway, let's throw everything one last time here. We'll start off with the Saint, then the Saint Pro. I'm really gonna juice these. I'm actually feeling pretty good right now. That desperately needed height. But if you crank on the Saint, it's going to have some turn in the mid-flight. Now we've got the Saint Pro here. Let's try and give it some height this time. See, Saint Pro, not superly stable, not as stable as I expect it to be. The sweeps, I feel like you get that controlled flight, a controllable flight characteristic. You get a little bit better feel in hand and a little more confidence in the fade at the end. And I do think the blue one, at least as far as my testing goes, is quite a bit more stable than the orange one. Color doesn't always matter, but for certain brands, color definitely matters. Come back. See, as to where the Saints just kind of stayed over, that sweep, even though we did find that -1 turn, it still pushed forward and came back at the end of the flight. I think the sweep is a winner from Latitude 64. They're not out yet, but when they are, use my link in the description below, save 10% over at Disc Golf Deals USA. I have some peak putting footage to share with you guys, and then some other random shots. So if you want to see a little more disc golf, hang out here. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Stay humble, live with gratitude. Support me and my sponsors, the links in the description below. Catch you in the next one, and take care. Skeeter. There it is. Oh, that's so weird. Skeeter! You think the Skeeter can get there? Confirmed Skeeter hole. Skeeter! Oh yeah. That's in the circle. Every hole's a Skeeter hole, baby. That is just unbelievable. Well, we're gonna have to check in from another course at another time. Gonna have to get out of here for the day. We'll see you guys on another course.